So the Brampton Steelheads have been providing a lot of content these last couple of weeks as they've announced another trade. This is now 6 trades over the last 4 weeks as they prepare for the upcoming regular season. And this time, the Steelheads, another trade with the Kitchener Rangers as they've sent the playing rights of Adam Valentini to the Rangers for a 15th round pick in 2028, along with 3 conditional picks. That includes a second, a third, and a fourth in 2028. Now, Valentini, he was Brampton's first round pick in the 2024 OHL Priority Selection. He went 13th overall. However, he is signed by the Chicago Steel of the USHL and has a commitment to the University of Michigan. So it seemed unlikely that he would report to training camp for the Steelheads, but they thought they'd take that chance. And he has not reported as of yet. All signs point to him playing for the Chicago Steel in the upcoming season. So the Brampton Steelheads finding a buyer with the Kitchener Rangers who think they can persuade him to come to the OHL. So they've completed this trade. So really a no-risk situation here for the Brampton Steelheads as Kitchener, they are looking to the future. They have their sights on potentially putting in a bid for the Memorial Cup in 2027. So they're willing to play the long game and waiting to see if Valentini will eventually play in the Ontario Hockey League. And we have seen it in the past where players who have had commitments to the NCAA have changed their mind and have ended up reporting to the Ontario Hockey League. We've seen that in the past with players of the Kitchener Rangers, even with the Barrie Colts. We had Totora, remember that a few years ago. He ended up playing for the Barrie Colts after having a commitment to the NCAA. So it does happen. It can go either way. We'll have to wait and see here. But Mike McKenzie, the general manager of the Kitchener Rangers, has said that he's willing to meet with Valentini's family, try and convince him to come to the Ontario Hockey League. So we'll see what all transpires. But really, this is a no-risk situation for either team, Kitchener or Brampton. Early last season, though, Valentini, he was seen as a possible first overall pick in the 2024 OHL Priority Selection, and he had some really solid numbers playing for the Toronto Marlboros. 31 goals, 36 assists, 67 points last season, and he was also named the GTHL Player of the Year. So Valentini has the skill and would be huge if he ends up playing for the Kitchener Rangers down the road. And with how deep Brampton is this season, taking a chance on Valentini didn't hurt. And I was kind of wondering with how Brampton is seen as a contender for this season and possibly next season, if that would have convinced Valentini to maybe come over to the Ontario Hockey League. But obviously that's not the case. And with this move, the Steelheads, they will receive an additional first-round pick in the 2025 OHL Priority Selection Draft. That's as compensation because their first-rounder has decided not to report, and they've traded him to another team. So we've seen that in the past. Sam Dickinson comes to mind. He did that with the Niagara Ice Dogs. He was drafted by Niagara and then had his playing rights traded to London, and then they got the extra pick in the following year's draft. And of course, we would see Sam Dickinson eventually play for the London Knights. So all in all, if Valentini does end up with the Kitchener Rangers, I see it as a win for both teams because then those conditional picks will then go to Brampton for the 2028 draft. And I think that's why I'm figuring this is a long game approach because those draft picks are in a few years from now after the 2027 Memorial Cup. So we'll have to wait and see if Valentini does end up playing for the Kitchener Rangers. I think it'd be great to see a talent such as him come to junior, but of course, every player is on a different path as they try to make it to the National Hockey League, and some feel the NCAA route is more suited for them, and that's the direction Valentini is going right now. But time will tell, and it is a fascinating trade because I think the Kitchener Rangers, an organization with a lot of history, and we don't usually see them picking players in the early stages of the draft in recent memory. So I think if Mike McKenzie can get Valentini, it'll be huge for that organization, especially if they do, in fact, put in a bid for the Memorial Cup down the road. So that's how I see it from the booth. We're still waiting for word on a Colby Barlow trade. It sounds like that might be coming sooner rather than later, but those developments are going accordingly as wait and see. And if there is a trade announced, I will post a video here on the channel. So that's the the news for today. If there's any other trades today, I'll post a video as well. But in the meantime, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and put your comments down below, your thoughts on this trade and your thoughts on the upcoming season for both Kitchener and Brampton. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you again soon.